in trying to engender this relationship between government regulators, academia, and industry. And we felt that for the last 10 years, the space in terms of technology innovation has increased tremendously, and the role of universities has become even more important. And we held a workshop, we call it the Future Lab Hackathon Workshop, and this is based on design thinking, where we look at solutions and problems and solutions. So the workshop participants were asked to address this question: how might Dubai accelerate the collaborations between universities and industry? Very simple question. And I'll just give you an executive summary of the report. Okay, basically, the report had number of initiatives discussed. We had experts consulted, publications reviewed, as well as government and industry stakeholders who collaborated in this exercise. And we came up with more than 12 initiatives, and also what are the game-changing initiatives as well as the 1% initiatives. And all the participants from the government sectors, private and public, came for this successful hackathon. Now, I know this is very small, I will share with you later. We had all the game-changing initiatives. When I say game-changing, it means collaboration. Now, there are two kinds of models. One is the universities and industries, and universities with the government. And it cannot be succeeded without the government enabling this process. Now, why do we want to collaborate? I'm sure you heard many reasons. One is stimulates additional R&D, expand the field of research, foster commercialization, increase mobility between public and private sectors, and introduce new products and patents. This is extremely important. For me, my most important aspect is the commercialization of R&D from the universities, what I call the academic R&D. Yeah. And in this report, we also highlighted the talent and skill development, social partnerships, and research of technology that is going to be very important. Partnerships, research services, shared infrastructure, academic entrepreneurship, human resource training and transfer, so on and so forth. So there is an emerging trend in the last 10 years that new forms of industry and university collaboration are happening. Now, we did a survey and we found that in the UAE there is a potential to increase collaboration between the two stakeholders. And we said that we found out that universities in the UAE co-publish fewer papers in science and technology than other leading economies. In Singapore, it's 14%, Norway 13%, UAE 9%, and Kuwait. So this tells you that the state of improvement is happening. And R&D spending between universities and industry is also accelerating. And in the UAE, post-COVID, the UAE government has launched a national R&D plan to accelerate this. So if you look at the different benchmarks, a typical country spends at least 2% of its GDP on R&D. And we note that the UAE ranks 55 globally, but it is going to increase with a new R&D plan. So this is an interesting metric that government always measure: number of how much funds are funded for R&D as a percentage of GDP. Now, I mentioned in the panel that R&D cannot take place without intellectual property creation. IP is very important, and we found that the UAE is still one of the most expensive places to fund and to have your IP registered compared to other comparable countries. However, this is something that the government is introducing and addressing to reduce the fees for IP registration. So, the government can help accelerate collaboration by helping commercialization in these areas. One is increased investment in basic research, recruit entrepreneurs, focus on traditional STEM and non-STEM subjects, increase investment in localization and regionalization research. You need to collaborate. Universities also need to collaborate among themselves locally and globally for effectiveness. The leading governments such as Singapore and UK have increased their focus towards collaboration. For example, in the UK, there's the Lambert Toolkit. We have a research database in Singapore. It's a huge database to do collaboration online and to have physical connections, as well as in Demola in the country. In many regions, there are citywide initiatives. For example, the Innovation Partnership Program in different countries. We have in UAE, we have Oxford Emirates Data Science Lab, Abu Dhabi Ports, and EGA. So these are very specific examples of collaboration that we should encourage. So in 2021, recently, UAE launched a research and development plan to strengthen performance and effectiveness of UAE's science and technology sector. And they were like R&D governance model, policy priority, as well as a National Research and Development Council. So these are already in place. Yeah. So one good example is the NYU Abu Dhabi STAR AD. They have established a START AD program, which is very successful, to offer venture launchpad, AI Washa, Start Invest. So this is already in place, and I encourage you to find out more about it. So basically, this session was held in Dubai Future Foundation, and we used a collaborative approach where academia, industry, and government came together to discuss this. And we came up with a few initiatives. One is co-development of university curriculum, collaborative research, education, purpose, CSR-led initiatives. There's a description of how it works there. We have a fabrication lab that we are trying to establish also. Foresight and future partnership, credibility and attractiveness of local universities. We want to ensure that these universities continue to do a lot of foresighting projects, government funding scheme, to continue promoting the collaboration and the research. It was also pointed out that because industry has a lot of challenges, market challenges, and these market challenges should be the subject matter for the research. And you cannot solve problems in isolation, you must solve it with the market. So this is something that we are working on. Sector-specific skills, future skills development. We're also looking at the different sectors that the UAE needs to develop and to bring it to the next level. And this is how collaboration will help. Sharing facilities in universities and industry. We want specific labs in the universities to be open to SMEs and startups for certain periods of time for joint research. And this is something very important because many of the SMEs do not have access to expensive laboratory measurements. So this is something that we want to do. Skill certification by universities is also another project that we want to encourage by collaborating with the university to launch new skill sets for the workforce. Student internship opportunities, it is already happening, but I think this must be more focused on the technology aspects. We want more universities to have incubation centers with the public sector, and these incubation centers will be like the use case centers where we test out new technologies and science. So we had a lot of recommendations in this report. We'll share with you. And a lot of workshop participants from the who's who of the stakeholders attended this workshop and gave very valuable inputs. So this is just a snapshot of some of the participants of our workshop, which was held last year. And these are some of the initiatives that were linked to whether they are game changers or baseline improvements. And these are details in the reports you can refer to. And one of them is actually Curriculum 4.0, which is about how to develop the new curriculum that looks into the industry challenges as well as the market challenges. And the R&D Innovation Hub is something that the government is seriously thinking of, where we make one of the Emirates the hub for R&D. And incubation centers as well. And we also want to have a national association for academic collaborations. That means all the collaborations, we want to have an association to share knowledge. Talent tie-ups with the universities, because talent is everything when you do research. You need the talent to do research, to do the laboratory work, to do the experiments. Finally, intellectual property utility models. We want to help universities to commercialize their research using new IP development laws and regulations. And we have an implementation roadmap where we put in the report. And we think that it should be done within the next 12 to 24 months. All right. So this is some of the recommendations that we have put in place, and we are prepared to look at it very seriously, because we think that this is a very important aspect of economic development. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alex. This report is very crucial for us, for our team, because this is the crux of the GIA Hub. And when we started working on the GIA Hub, we were astonished to know that Dr. Alex and team, Mr. Rashid, all of that, already worked on this project report on the Triple Helix Hub 2 years back? 1.5 years back. So, as usual, they have raced ahead of everybody. So, thank you very much for that presentation. We will now take some questions. We have some distinguished guests in the audience, like Mr. Parvez, who is doing his PhD on the Triple Helix ecosystem, and he's also driving a lot of industry, academia, government initiatives in India. So we can take questions, starting with Mr. Parvez. Since you're doing the PhD in this field of Triple Helix, and Dr. Alexander has already done a report on this with Dubai Economy, and he is helping us, mentoring us, spearhead this project here with Dubai Economic Government of Dubai. What are your thoughts on this? What is India doing in this perspective? How can we connect both India and Dubai in this GIA perspective?
Yeah. So good morning. Assalamu alaikum to all. I think your report is very a lot of insight, because as Mukhtar said, I'm doing my PhD research in triple helix model. But what I understand from, I did a lot of literatures in other countries. I think very excited to know about Dubai. But what's your experience of this model being successful in other countries? Have you done some research? And then, is there any proven theory? Because this model predominantly been successful, but if you tell us some examples that you are trying in Dubai successfully, but now apart from this, is there any Western countries where they have adopted and then where they have successful? Any insights you can share?
Yeah. So I think the most famous examples is the Silicon Valley, Stanford University, as well as Harvard University, MIT area. So you know that these are the top-notch universities, the Ivy League universities, and these universities have a very strong R&D and the commercialization arm. So all the investors are always around the universities trying to find the next best game changer for technology or healthcare or medicine. So there are successful models around the world. I think the whole idea is that for me, if I look at all the models around, whether it's in Japan or South Korea, for example, in South Korea, Samsung has established a university called Samsung University, and they do purely research. And this is the reason why Samsung is so successful globally, because they are connected to the ground. Of course, they are very rich. They have lots of money to invest in it. But for other countries, government plays a role. So there are successful models in Silicon Valley, for example, Stanford University, as well as the MIT, Harvard area where they are. Harvard is known for its law, medicine, as well as financial engineering. All right, and then the tech companies are all the data companies, tech companies are all in the Silicon Valley. So there are successful models. Yeah.
Since you talked about the Stanford, I have learned that Stanford has successfully following this OTT, that is the Office of Technology Transfer, where they have doing lot of tech transfers and then making many startups as a spin-offs. So as we more familiarized with startups, but the Western world is more familiarized with the spin-offs, where the scientists and professors from the university develop the technology and then they transfer it to startups through a tech transfer office. Whereas in country like India, we expect at least the startup to come with their own idea.